with you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance?
Yes.
You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. Anthony Adebayo and the most accurate sports coverage. Scotty B's Fantasy 5.
We're different from any other sports.
His sophomore year. Comes back and says, you know what?
And your boy, Scotty B. What up, man?
What's going on? How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Are you proud of me, man? The intro's good. Hold on, let me get the air horns. Can you hear the air horns?
Yeah, I can hear the air horns.
So why you? Nah, but this is Off the Record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
It's your boy Scotty B. Happy Bobby Bonilla Day.
Happy Bobby Bo Day. Man, look, Bobby Bonilla might be one of the smartest men, and I don't even think it was on purpose. I think the Mets were just being cheap.
Why do you think he's one of the smartest men?
Before we get to that, explain what Bobby Bonilla Day is.
Okay, so if you guys haven't heard, Bobby Bonilla, he's retired from baseball. I want to say since 1998?
98, something like that, yeah.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he is still receiving checks from the New York Mets.
Right.
And, it's 2020. This man hasn't played since 1998, and he is still receiving, $1 million check?
1.92 million.
Yep, he was smart enough to sign. I want to say it was a $25 million contract, but for them to pay him after he finished playing baseball.
Right. So what ended up happening was the Mets. Actually, it's the Mets' fault. So the Mets wanted to. They didn't want to pay his buyout of $5.9 million, but instead decided, I guess, however they negotiated it, to pay him 1.918 whatever million from 2011 up until 2035, instead of paying almost $6 million at one time.
But you know what, though, in their defense, with that deal, they were able to get Mike Hampton, and when they got Mike Hampton, they were able to win the World Series.
They were able to go to the World Series.
We'll go to the World Series, but they're not the only team to do something stupid or have a bad contract. At least they got some value in it. But from Bobby Bonilla's standpoint, I mean, it was just smart. It was a smart business,
and that's why I call him. That's why I call him one of the smartest guys in sports history. And
every July 1st, everybody talks about this, and you don't hear nothing from that guy. He probably does make sure the money in the bank. He ain't gonna do no interviews. He's not even gonna comment on it. He's like, yeah, I'm getting paid. I'm good.
Yeah. So I mean, and good for him. Good for him. And I guess that's what you call residual income. I don't know what other business ventures he has, but good for him. So I know we're gonna get into the NBA in a little bit.
You gotta get right to it. I already know where you're going.
Because we do have a guest today, and I know he wants to talk about the NBA and everything. But what's your take, man? You got the Nuggets. The Nuggets had to close their practice facility. Then you had some guys dropping off, but they're going through it with the bubble, and they report next week.
I think everybody's going to be eyes on the NBA. I think if any league could pull it out, it is the NBA. I think that they're going to play. They've decided that no matter what's going on, they're going to go through with it. They've already got too far along in the process to just back out and say they aren't going to play. So I think they're going to give it an honest try. And then from there, if they've got to shut down, I'm sure Adam Silver and his team have a lot of contingency plans if things start going south. But I think that if too many people start to get it, then they're going to shut it down. I don't think there is a plan B.
I don't, because I mean the Nets are already going with a G League team now. I mean they have about 5 or 6 guys that Kevin Durant and Kyrie wasn't going to play anyway.
Shout out to Justin Anderson getting that 10-day contract too, man.
So is it a 10-day or is it just he's just on there? He's just on the roster, right?
I have to look at the details, but I think it's pretty much he's going to be on the roster. The rest of the,
I don't think they would. Yeah. So shout out to him, man. It's just man. It's just Bradley Beal may not play. Avery Bradley has already dropped out, like we talked about last week. We don't really have anybody like that's a superstar that hasn't. I think if Bradley Beal decides not to play, he'll be the highest profile guy that doesn't play.
If Bradley Beal doesn't play, they might as well just revoke the Wizards' invitation and just say, you know what, you guys ain't making the playoffs either. So we're going to do you a favor. You don't even got to bring your staff.
They have to go. They have to go, man. And it's so. I think it's wise for them to play. I just think it's partly to get guys, to contract reasons, but to get people's minds off of all the madness that's going on and like something to watch on TV. I mean, it's but so much Korean baseball you can watch.
Right. But I didn't even think he was even going to talk the NBA. It's two things that happened this week that are huge in your world. The Cam Newton to the Patriots. Let's talk about that for a second.
You want to talk? Before we get to Cam Newton, let's talk Jada versus Fab.
What are your comments? What do you think first?
Well, I thought it was going to be a lot closer. So for everybody that doesn't know, us as our friends get together on Sundays and we do our own little battle, right? Which this Sunday is Scott versus myself, but we had our own little Jada versus Fabulous, right? And it didn't go the way it went on Monday, and it was just like, what was he thinking? Why did he play some of the songs that would have made it a little closer, and it was just like, it was just weird, man. But it was good, but it should have been a lot closer than it was because Jada kind of spanked him.
So I think Fab was in a tough situation. He's got 2 different extremes of music. Right. He's got like his commercial success. So I think like he went into the battle thinking like, oh, okay, well, I want to kill him with this song because it had this feature and this was a big song. Mm-hmm. And he didn't play a lot of the stuff that, to me, puts him in that top category. Without his mixtapes and his freestyles, he doesn't get the notoriety, in my opinion, as just living off of his features, I should say. I think his mixtapes make him who he is a little bit more. So I think a lot of people were disappointed to not really see or hear his mixtapes.
No, but Fab has a lot of chart toppers and things of that nature. So,
but it's tough if you're in that situation when you got an extensive catalog like that, and you say, okay, I can only limit it to 20 songs. What does everybody want to hear? Because the devil's advocate of it is, if he would have played all his mixtape stuff, people been like, dang, yo, why he ain't play this song? Why he ain't play that song? So you can't win.
I mean, all right, but so Cam Newton to the Patriots. I like that he went there. I don't like that he only got I don't like the type of contract that he got. I don't mind the years. I just feel like he should have gotten a bigger salary.
So here's where I was at with it. It told me 2 things. Number one, the Patriots aren't all in on him, and they're not all sold on him. So I think they feel like that they got to steal, but in the sense that they're taking a risk. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because the money that he got is kind of borderline backup quarterback money. You know what I mean? Right. They didn't go out there and say, you know what, we're going to give you a 3-year deal, or we're even going to give you a 2-year deal. This is basically, we're not sure if you're going to come back and be the Cam Newton in 2015. Now, I think he will. I think he's some of the workout videos I watched. Yep. He's going to surprise. Well, he's not going to surprise a lot of people. I think most people will assume that he's going to ball out. I mean, he is going to.
I think he is actually going to surprise more people than not. I mean, because some people think I've heard people say that he was done.
Oh, nah. Judging from them workouts, he's clearly healthier than he's ever been. My concern with Cam Newton is that cupboard and with the Patriots, they don't have a lot of talent left on that roster. Not that he's used to playing with a lot of talent in Carolina. No, real talk. I mean, he's not used to playing with good receivers.
I agree.
So it's going to be interesting to see if Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniel can adjust their scheme, which I feel like they can adjust their scheme to fit Cam Newton's skill set. And I think they saw what Lamar Jackson, how he dominated them, and say, you know what? If we got a quarterback like that, if Cam Newton comes back and he's 70 to 80%, and he's got that skill set, we could walk into the playoffs. So I think it's a win for him. What I was disappointed in is the only other team that showed interest was the Browns.
Right.
And I mean, they just had a discussion with him. They didn't really work him out, or they didn't offer him any money. So I was surprised that more teams didn't go out there, especially for $7.5 million. And that's really bonus. Yeah, it's incentive based.
So I mean, and we'll talk about it. Let's get our special guest on here. So coming today, we got it's the 14th president of Virginia State. There's nothing else to say. You know, how you doing? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Happy Bobby Bonilla Day.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right, so I'm surprised Scott didn't say nothing about my intro. I've realized that less is more.
You know what? If it was any other guest, I may say something, but this is a big time guest.
Oh,
he's got his VSU pillow on the background. He's got his VSU shirt on. So somebody asked me today, right? It was like, yo, you're gonna have the president of Virginia State on. You gotta wear your t-shirt. And it dawned on me, it was like, yo, I just got these two dingy sweatshirts that I got from the bookstore probably about 15 years ago. And I say, you know what? I'm not even going to embarrass myself.
Hold on a second. So I got you there. So what size do you wear? Do you wear a large like the 90s, or are you wearing the mediums like the kids wear nowadays? What are you rocking? What are you rocking, brother?
Well, due to my father gut that I got, I'm probably more like an extra large. But I tell people I'm a large. I try to put the large off, but I'm more like an extra large.
Okay, and in that case, then I will tell you I'm going to send you a large and actually send you an extra large. That's it.
My family and friends will appreciate if you send that, not the large.
All right, so we're gonna do something different today, and we're gonna have a rapid fire Q&A with the president. All right, so you got 30 seconds and you got 10 questions. All right,
okay,
all right, let's do it. Scott. Time starts now.
All right. Muhammad Ali or Tyson?
Muhammad Ali.
NFL or NBA?
NBA.
Tanya Harding or Nancy Kerrigan?
Ooh, Tanya Harding.
Michael Jackson or Prince?
Michael Jackson.
Scott.
Got me. Fried chicken or baked chicken?
Fried chicken.
Old school or new school?
Old school. Old school.
Jordan or LeBron?
LeBron.
Ooh, all right. Last one. VSU or Howard?
Virginia State University, ladies and gentlemen. Howard University is my second favorite school, but my number one school. Can't you tell? You can't tell?
Hey, I gotta ask the questions. So
hey, look, and you're trying to get me in trouble in my hometown. You know, I'm from Chicago.
I know.
Right? And whenever I bring up LeBron versus Jordan, man, I have problems, man. You make it hard to get back home.
So that was my next question. Why LeBron over Jordan?
Man, look, I love basketball. I really do. It's my favorite sport by far. I play, as best that I can. And I was in Chicago when Jordan was winning the championship.
Okay.
I think LeBron is generally a better long range shooter. He's a better passer. He's a better rebounder. He's a more athletic guy. And I think that in time, what's happened with Jordan is he's become idolized in a way where people really don't look at his full resume accurately. This whole thing of he was 6-0 in the finals. And that's impressive. But he was only in the finals 6 times. There's other times where he didn't make it out of the first round, didn't make it out of the second round. But now those and again, for me, Jordan and LeBron are the only 2 people in the conversation. So I don't argue that Jordan's not the GOAT, right?
Okay.
I don't. If you say Jordan is the GOAT, I think LeBron, but I can be with you. But if you say anyone else other than Jordan and LeBron, we're gonna have a problem. Now we got a barbershop problem.
Okay, so now that we're in the barbershop, and I'm glad Scott is hearing this. So about maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, it may have been, we had this big. It took over the show, and the show's only an hour. It went past the show, and I said that LeBron is a better basketball player than Kobe, right? Rest in peace. And the face that Scott's making now was even worse in 2018. And I said, now, yes, everybody's gonna say the Mamba mentality, but as a basketball player, LeBron is better.
Look, I'll say this, Adebayo, and I'll let Scotty form his mouth up even worse right now. I don't think statistically, and you can look this up, I don't think statistically there's anything besides free throw shooting that Kobe does better than LeBron. Nothing. Like literally nothing. He scored more, has more assists, more rebounds, shot better from the field, shot better from 3. A couple fewer championships. I put that on. I'm not going, but he also didn't play with the real Shaq. He played with big, slow, lazy Shaq. To me, LeBron's biggest accomplishment by far was dragging that first Cavs team to the finals. And if you can name anybody on that team besides like Ilgauskas, right? He dragged a bunch of no-names straight to the finals. They got swept. But that's a heck of an accomplishment. That's something Jordan never did. He never took a team where he was by far the best player. No one else on the team, was an all-star. I think that was the year that Mo Williams was an all-star.
Yeah, Mo Williams.
And we know Mo Williams was an all-star because they couldn't give LeBron two jerseys. They gave Mo one. That was just LeBron having two all-star slots. So, and much respect to Mo Williams, who just became the coach of Alabama State. Welcome to HBCU world.
I have a couple questions. All right, so Warren, what's your basketball team?
What's what?
What's your favorite basketball team?
My favorite basketball. Look, I love players. I've always rooted for players. My favorite team is the Los Angeles Lakers. Am I new to the bandwagon? Yes, sir, I am. Am I embarrassed? Am I embarrassed about that? No, sir, I'm not. I'm not embarrassed at all. When LeBron moved, when he took his talents to South Beach, I took my fandom. I just love it. And we're talking basketball, of course, but I also really appreciate the man himself. I think the decision, to me, the idea that they had the Kuji Tagalia, the self-determination to decide like we do at the court. When you're at the court, you go, I want to play with him, and him. And when you go to the NBA and now LeBron said, you know what? I want to play with him and him. And I'm going to Miami to do it. Man, the fact that the brothers are running the game now, the young brothers, it's not the GMs, it's not the agents, it's the players making the decision. That's the other reason why. And I'm not even talking politics. And we talk politics, and I really love LeBron, but just the business savvy, to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, sign for how many years I want to do. You don't do the team right, I'm going to leave. LeBron is my guy, man. He's my guy. I'm a big fan. So Lakers.
All right, so you kind of took my second question. I was going to ask you who's going to win the championship. Who's going to be in the championship from the East and the West?
In the West, now I would have said, and I'm an honest fan too, so now I'm going to take my fan hat off. I would have said the Lakers if we were talking a couple days ago. I think this Avery Bradley loss is going to be bigger than they think. And I love J.R. Smith. I think that he's going to play real well for them, and he fits well with LeBron anyway. But to have and when you have LeBron playing point, you need a 6'2", 6'3" guy who can guard the other team's lead guards, and who can guard Lou Williams, who can guard Patrick Beverly, who can get up in Kawhi's face a little bit, and that's Avery Bradley. I think they're going to miss, and they got some other guys who can do some of that work, but I think they're going to miss it. I think they are. So now, if the Clippers don't come back with Lou Williams, then I got to go back to the Lakers. So I think the Clippers are kind of in the driver's seat right now if they come back healthy. In the East, I think Giannis is going to get it done this year. I think Giannis was embarrassed from what happened last year. I think he understands it's not enough to rule the regular season. You have to impose your will in the playoffs. And so I think they'll make it. I think they'll make it out of the East. But I think the championship is going to be in the West. It'll be the Lakers or the Clippers. And right now, I gotta lean a little bit towards the Clippers because of Avery Bradley.
So go ahead, Scott.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
So I don't agree with the Clippers thing. I'm still going with the Lakers, but I don't think that the Bucks are going to make it to the championship. I think it's going to be between either Miami, Philly, or Boston. I think one of those three younger teams, and I just feel like those teams are deeper than Milwaukee. I know Giannis is the best out of all of them. The best player, but I think team-wise, and don't get me wrong, Milwaukee does have a really good team. I don't know. I just feel like Boston, they're 10 deep. Philly, I think Philly's one of the better teams in the league if they can find a way to gel. The problem is, and it's not even with Ben Simmons shooting. It's Ben Simmons and Embiid coexisting and getting on the same page. They, for whatever reason, when they're home, when they're in the home team, they're on the same page. I think they probably lost once or twice at home this year, but it's when they're on the road is when things get a little dicey. So, and then with Miami, I just feel like they're one of the better defensive teams in the league, and if any one of those teams can stop Milwaukee or Boston or Philly, is Miami.
I'll tell you this. I'll take that in order, and you left out Toronto, but I'll take it in order. I think Philly. I don't think Philly, and I think that it's not the personalities, but Embiid and Simmons were not made to play together. They just weren't. And,
no, you're right.
And it'll get exacerbated in the playoffs because you sag a little bit and you can shut down one of them, and then the other one's going to have to shoot deeper shots. And so I just don't think the makeup, and losing JJ Redick for them was huge.
Yes, I agree. I
think you touched on something that Ben Simmons shouldn't be playing the point. They need to move him to small forward until he develops a shot. Because like you said, they can sag off of him. They're going to clog the middle. Embiid has no room to operate. And you're right, that spacing with JJ Redick killed him. So I think Ben Simmons is the problem. If I had to pick one to get rid of, I probably would get rid of Ben Simmons and keep Embiid.
So I'm gonna go the other way. I think, and I like them both. And this is on the internet, so one of them might see it. I don't know you, but I love you both, brothers and brothers. but I think Ben Simmons is just a little lankier Giannis, right? You put Embiid with Giannis, you're gonna have a problem. That team won't win either. I think the better keep is Ben Simmons, and surrounding him, you get a Brook Lopez who can shoot the three, a stretch five. You get a Kristaps Porzingis kind of guy. And Ben Simmons can bring it up and then can take you to the hole because the lane is open, almost like LeBron. I think Ben Simmons, even though he doesn't have a good shot, I think you keep him with the ball in his hand. He makes good decisions. Now, I love Miami, and I think Duncan Robinson with Adebayo, Bam Adebayo. Hey, that's your name, brother. Okay, with Bam Adebayo and of course Jimmy Butler. If Duncan is ready for the playoffs, if he can do what he does in the regular season in the playoffs, they will surprise a whole lot of people. And then of course you're right. Boston's got a lot of talent, and Toronto has been there, and they have done it. They've shown all year that they can do the same thing without Kawhi. And that proven experience, man. If Scotty told you that before, he was telling you right. You better listen to that brother. That's a smart brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it. He don't never listen to me though, but we'll see.
Well, we'll see. I'm excited for them to come back. I know we have about a little under a month for the games to start.
Yeah.
I just hope that somehow the pandemic just goes, the virus just ceases somehow. It's spiking right now, and I don't know, man. It's just you got guys that are, I don't want to call them spoiled, but they're spoiled. They're a bunch of spoiled. I don't want to say spoiled because spoiled has a negative connotation, but
right.
These guys have a way of doing things, on the road, and they don't make up their own beds. They have personal chefs, so they're used to certain things, and ultimately changing their way of living for 3 months for most of them. And I think that's going to be one of the toughest things of keeping the virus off of that bubble.
Yeah, I think they'll adapt. I think it'll be tough early, but I think they'll figure that out. I mean, everybody has come from, and I mean, nobody was born in the NBA was born with a silver spoon in their mouth, and so they got to get in line to get their fries. I think they'll figure it out. To me, I think the biggest problem is just going to be how do you keep everybody healthy, and I think just like when in early March when the NBA canceled its season.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably the biggest wake-up call for the country, that everything is not normal. It was like, wait a minute, what's going on? And I think there's a lot of people looking to this bubble to see, can this work?
Right.
It's interesting. I think if it can't work, it'll send a strong message that there's no real safe place. There's no way to create a safe environment. And I think it's going to play a healthy impact on college sports. I think everybody's watching on even going back to the office. Can we go back to the office, right?
Right.
So I think there's a lot at stake, and it's not just the NBA, but can there be a sense of normalcy in this COVID pandemic? And if the NBA, with all of the money that they have and using Walt Disney World, can't do it, then who else can do it, right? So there's a lot at stake.
And it's funny that you bring that up, because that's actually one of the questions I wanted to ask you is, how have you been able to navigate through the pandemic being the president of the university? What challenges? Well, obviously you've had a lot of challenges, but how have you been able to overcome those?
Well, I mean, the easy answer is that there's a really good team. Got some really great people at Virginia State, from the administration to the faculty to the students to the staff to the board. It hasn't been easy. Everybody hasn't always agreed, but I think everybody is at the table wanting to make sure that a couple of things happen. Right. Number one, that we move forward in a safe environment as we can for an institution. And so, home, we had everybody in the loop on that. We got most people at Virginia State are teleworking now, working from home. Mm-hmm. This is actually my primary studio. This is where I do all of my meetings, right, with all my VSU stuff at home. Right. And so we're doing that, trying to plot the course to reopen, looking at testing and contact tracing on campus. How many folks can we reasonably get in the dorm with social distancing? Even more importantly, how do we protect our faculty and staff, who are, of course, many times in the age range that is even a problem. So we've got to not just look out for the students, but the faculty and staff and the community that's surrounding. And so it's a lot. The good thing, if there is one, is that everybody's going through the same challenge. I think the quote I like to use is that we're all in the same storm, but we're not in the same boat. We got different boats. And so some universities have maybe more resources or medical tools to chase some of these things down. We're going to have to do it without that, but we're doing the best we can. And so right now we're planning to open face-to-face in the fall, bringing back students to campus. Our classes will be a combination of some face-to-face with a lot of online courses. We're making changes on campus to try to make it so that people are accurately social distancing, and many of the staff that aren't forward-facing to the students, we'll probably have them to continue to telework throughout the year.
Okay.
And since this is a sports show, we're all of the institutions are trying to work out, how do you bring back fall sports, particularly football. And so these are all things that are kind of on the table, and everybody's trying to look at. But we got a good team and great people who want the best for Virginia State, and I think that's the secret.
Yeah. All right, so you brought it up.
Of course.
You brought football, and everybody wants to know. And you're the man. Hopefully, you're the man with the answers.
If you can discuss it.
If you can discuss it, will there be homecoming?
Oh. Will there be? Look, let me tell you, and I don't have a crystal ball, right? And so I will tell you this. I don't think that there's, and of course, you know that A&T has canceled their homecoming already, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's been a couple of schools that have canceled homecoming or canceled the group activities.
Right.
I don't think there's any way, honestly, at this stage, when you look at the world in July, that you can predict that we'll have large scale events in October, November. You know, I mean, so we haven't canceled it yet. We're looking at it, but I just don't see it. I don't know if people would feel safe enough to come out. And if they did, you know, we usually get about 15,000 people show up to homecoming. Right. Now, everybody's been in the house, right? So the first homecoming we open back up, it's going to be 175,000 people at Virginia State, right? Now, and everybody, your grandmama going to be there, your aunt's going to be there, your kids. You know, do we want our elders at homecoming? You know, do we want everybody? I'm not sure we do yet, you know. So I don't have a definitive answer, but I would say it's leaning towards no.
Okay.
It's leaning towards.
All right.
Yeah.
And
I'll answer. You ask me a question, I'll answer you, brother. I promise.
Yeah. So you saw Morehouse has canceled their they canceled their season. So seeing that and just like you said with the NBA, they kind of they were like the first ones to like the season is we're postponing it. Now they've canceled their whole season, and does that kind of like set a precedent, or are presidents and universities looking at it like, well, we're going to handle this the way we want to, not necessarily how they're handling it?
Right. I think both. Presidents, I probably had more meetings with my colleagues, whether they're colleagues in Virginia or HBCU colleagues. We're all kind of in this together. I can tell you there's not one president that isn't thinking about primarily the safety of students, including the athletes. And so whether we play fall sports is something that's on everybody's mind. You know, what's the right thing to do, right? You want to have a sense of normalcy, but at the same time, you don't want to put people at risk. And so I think that there's really three things that everybody's kind of looking at on some way or another, right? One of them, of course, is just going forward with fall sports the way we usually do, with measures in place, no fans, maybe keeping it with the conference, you know, doing some things to modify, but going forward with fall sports. The second, there are some who are talking about maybe moving fall sports to the spring, right? Okay. And having, you know, kind of delaying it so they can still possibly be fall sports, but delaying them to the spring. So there's a lot of conversation in back rooms about trying that. And then the third one is what Morehouse has said, is that we're just not going to play fall sports. And so, you know, everybody's looking at everything. So are we. Right. We want to make sure that the young men and women are safe as best as they can be. At the same time, we want to give them an opportunity to chase their dreams. And you know, we all love sports, and we love to have that as a part of university life. So, yeah.
Just to change gears a little bit, pretty much every alumni that I've spoken to that has went to Virginia State is very pleased with the direction the school is going in. It's just vast improvements with the videos and just the way the university looks. What is your proudest achievement since you've been president?
Whew. That's a really good question. It's so interesting. I tell you, COVID has changed the world so much. It's hard to remember what the world was like before COVID. You know, right? You know, I really enjoy getting to know the students, getting to know their lives, being a positive part of change, a transformational change for them. Being a part of working with the faculty and staff to help change students' lives. And so, you know, I could name some big stuff, you know, named HBCU of the year. And you know, we had a great year in the General Assembly, and we got a lot of respect in and around the Commonwealth of Virginia, where people are really looking to Virginia State to lead. And I think that we've done a lot of that. I like the fact that in some ways there's kind of a more fun environment that people have, because I like to have fun, and we like to cheer. But by far, I can't, and that's why I'm so sad that we missed commencement, right? Yeah. Because commencement is that show, that transfer, that how should I say this? It's kind of the example. It's not the transformation, but it is the example of the transformation, right? Of having this event, faculty, staff, students, parents, smiling, students, everybody's ready, and we're going to celebrate this incredible accomplishment. That's my favorite day of the year, is commencement. and all of the young people who have graduated while I've been here at Virginia State, particularly this class that I missed, because this is my class, because I came in with them. They are my proudest. They're my proudest.
Just to comment on that, I mean, it shows in all the videos that you're in, and you see the engagement. I want to tell you, when I was there, I met the president one time, and I was on graduation day. No names out there. You ain't got a comment, but I mean, I got a picture with him. No, real talk. But so, I mean, to see you out there being engaged with the students, being active on campus, I think most alumni, they'll tell you that back in the day when you went to Virginia State, everybody that went there knew how good the school was. But now to finally get that recognition from other people, like, man, Virginia State, that's a good school. You're like, okay, I'm glad that somebody is moving Virginia State.
Man, and that's one thing that I was so excited. So this is the 4th HBCU that I've worked at, right? So I started at, I went to Howard, of course, as you said. And then I worked at Florida A&M, Florida Memorial, and Bethune-Cookman before coming to Virginia State. And so I know about HBCU world, you know, but there's something special about Virginia State. And that's real. I can say that from somebody who kind of walked in going, hey, you know, I think one of the things that there's a lady, Ruby Evans. I don't know if you knew her. She was a administrative assistant in one of the offices. And when I first came to campus, I went to her retirement party. And she had been working over 40 years at Virginia State. I'd never heard nothing like that before. And I found that there's a bunch of folks who have been working, who have been I like to say, who had given their lives, right, to Virginia State University. And it's that kind of commitment from people and from alums. When I see Trojans, you know, you see something different. One of the best parts about my job is that when people see me, they want to tell me their Trojan story. People pull me aside and be like, look, my mama went to state, my grandmama went to state, you know. And I get to hear it, you know. So it is, man, it's exciting. It's for someone who has more recently in the past 4.5 years joined the family, it's a heck of a family. I mean, it's real talk. What you see is real, you know.
Absolutely. And my daughters, they never fail to say every time we go somewhere, oh, Daddy, every time we go somewhere, Daddy knows somebody. I said, we went to school together. And it doesn't matter where we go. We could be in North Carolina, we could be in New York, New Jersey, and somewhere in Richmond that, you know, it never fails. You're gonna see someone from Virginia State, and it's almost like an instant, like, oh, like a brotherhood or a sisterhood or whatever it is. It's just we're family. So yeah,
I think that's the best thing about going to an HBCU is the connections you make that are lifelong, that you just have them and you have them forever. And I really feel bad for folks who don't want to come back to homecoming like y'all want to come back to homecoming. You know, when you go to another school and homecoming don't hit like it does at state at HBCU, I feel bad for those people. I'm like, I'll come hang out with us, but you know.
I got another funny story about that. My nephew, I guess I shouldn't say the school, right? I shouldn't say the school. So he plays football at ODU. He plays football at ODU, right?
Okay.
And so last year was his freshman year, and it was homecoming, and he said, Uncle, what? He's like, this homecoming, I guess they had some crazy band. He said, I am not going to homecoming. He's like, the only reason why I'm at homecoming is because I'm on a team. And he did not like it. And he hasn't even seen, you know, he's right by North. So he saw Norfolk State's homecoming, and he said, there was so many people out. It was crazy. So yeah, it's definitely a difference. It's definitely a difference.
So nobody does it like we do it.
No.
Nobody does it like we do. That's just the bottom line, you know.
So all right, so there was a story, I guess it was probably about a month ago. Somebody posted a meme about don't bring your, I mean, if you want to change narrative or something like that, don't let your all-star athlete go to a HBCU instead of a PWI, right? Yeah. And then I believe his name is Mikey Williams. Is that his name, Scotty?
Yeah, Mikey Williams. Yeah.
Right? And he said he was thinking about going to a HBCU. What do you think? What are your thoughts on that situation if we start getting those top 100 recruits start going to HBCUs? How do you think that changed the narrative?
Yeah. So let me answer that question in 3 pieces, because there's actually 3 stories I heard in what you said.
Okay.
One of them is, part of me was a little disappointed, even though I love sports, right? it's like we tend to treat our athletes in the community as if they are the only young people in the community of value, right? And so the real statement should have said this: you should send your child to an HBCU.
Yep.
Right? You should send your child who plays piano. You should send your child who plays violin. Your child who's great in math and great in physics. I wonder what the world would look like if the best businessmen and entrepreneurs, if the best young people who could sing and dance and play basketball or football came to an HBCU. So I think, one, we want to expand that narrative. I'm okay with the idea, but just the idea of we need to send them, no. It's good enough for everybody. It changed your life. It changed my life, right? Let's let it change other people's lives, right? So that's first. Second, I love the fact that these kids understand their brands and have their own agency, right? They have figured it out, right? So Mikey Williams knows that he has his own brand. He can sell his own brand. He can bring attention to HBCUs, whether he's actually thinking about coming or not. That he has the ability to bring attention by sending out a tweet and have us talking about it and have other people talking about it. And that's powerful. That's powerful. And I like to, again, going back to LeBron, I think that's something that LeBron helped to create, right? That idea of, I don't have to talk through my coach. I don't have to talk through the GM. I ain't got to talk through my mama. I can tell you something if I want to tell you right now, right? So assuming that he said that not just to start a conversation and not just to get likes, right? Which he may have, and if he did, that's fine, because that's his prerogative, and I got nothing but love for him. And if he was thinking about Division II, if you're listening, come to Virginia State.
Absolutely.
I know Norfolk State already offered him. I think they sent him an offer.
Okay.
So if that was to go ahead, if that was to happen, I think it'd be fantastic. I think it'd be fantastic. But again, to me, it's a part of a larger narrative of, I think every kid should have an opportunity to look at, visit, and consider an HBCU. I think it's the best decision I ever made, and I think it'd be the best decision they ever made.
So as the president, why do you think that kids don't choose to go to HBCUs?
I think that I think it's us. It's part of us. We're hard on each other.
Okay.
We're hard on each other, and one, we're not perfect. Virginia State's not perfect. You can find a story about Virginia State that's not perfect if you want to look it up. Nobody's perfect, but we're not perfect either. And sometimes because we see the potential in our institutions and we see it unrealized, that it makes us upset. It has us talk negatively about our school, right? About our schools. And that's not necessarily a bad thing if we also talked about the positive, right? So for many of us, we wouldn't be here without the school that birthed us. But instead of telling that part of the story, we tell almost exclusively a part of the story where we had a negative connotation, right? And so I think we're a little hard on us. I think that we don't go to the positive story first. We don't talk about how great it was for us and how great it is for our children. I mean, so I'm a graduate of Howard. I loved how it was the best thing for me. My mama went to Howard, right? So I wanted to go, and it was great for me. So I sent my kids, my daughter, my son just graduated from Morehouse last year, and now he's at Morehouse School of Medicine. He's working on his graduate degree at an HBCU. My daughter went to Hampton, and I think now graduated from Virginia State, right? Why? Because I believe in Virginia State. And I think if you don't believe in it, you can't really sell it. So I think that everybody who's graduated from an HBCU, who has changed their life, it's put food on their table, put their kids through college, I think it's their responsibility to say, it's done an incredible job for me, and that the ice ain't colder on the other side and the grass isn't greener on the other side, that what worked for you, what transformed your life, can transform the life of your kids. It can do that. So it's our mission. So that's why I'm glad you got the shirt on. We're talking, having a conversation. It's stuff like this that has to continue to happen.
Right. All right. So let's Scott, you still want to go winner of the week?
I can.
All right, let's go winner of the week. We were supposed to do that 15 minutes ago, but it's fine. We was having a good conversation. I lost track of time, so it's cool. All right.
No, you're a winner. No, you're a winner. No, you're a winner. No, you're a winner.
All right, so my winner of the week this week is the former mayor of Carbon Hills, Mark Chambers. Some of you may have heard that he was in the news for basically condemning the University of Alabama for choosing to stand with the Black Lives Matter movement. He had some pretty outrageous tweets talking about how he was going to sell his memorabilia to the from the University of Alabama, and it was catastrophic. And I just thought, man, this day and age, this stuff is getting ridiculous. For a mayor to speak out, somebody with that platform to say those things is as ignorant, is stupid. I'm glad they resigned, but he is my winner of the week, man. I had no idea what he was thinking, just saying irresponsible stuff like that. What are your thoughts? Did you hear that story?
I didn't. I thought you were going to talk about Mike Gundy. So no, I didn't hear that one.
Well, that's another person. I think we got him we might have got him a couple weeks ago, but
okay.
Nah, I hadn't heard that story neither. And but you're right. I mean, I'm starting to think that people know what the mission is for Black Lives Matter and what everybody has, what they're talking about. They just want to ignore it, and they're going to just stay stuck in their ways. And there's no change in their mind whatsoever. And I literally just had this conversation yesterday, and I said the main thing that will start changing the narrative and everything will start with us and our kids. So we'll start teach the kids of equality and things of that nature. But all the older folks that are 60, 70, 80 years old that grew up in the deep South with all those things, they're stuck in their ways, and it's gonna be a really hard time trying to change their minds of anything of them thinking they're superior than everyone. That they're stuck with that. They're gonna do that and probably till the day they die.
But you know something, man, I gotta commend you on. Last week we talked about Mississippi changing their state flag. Yeah. And I was on the fence. I was like, man, they ain't changing that flag all the time. And it looks like change is coming on. They voted to change it. And like you said, the money. they banded together and they started realizing like, oh yeah, we got to get rid of this. So I mean, change is coming, maybe not as fast as we like, but I will say that it's been a vast improvement. We've forced the conversation, and we forced people to actually pick a side and say, you know what, this is how I stand on these issues, at least. So,
and you really got to give credit to so many of the folks, the students, the alums, young people, some old people who have been in the streets, having protests and making sure that voices are heard. I've had things happen I never thought would happen. I mean, I'm embarrassed to say that I didn't think that the statues would come down in my lifetime. I'm embarrassed to say that I didn't think that Aunt Jemima will come off. I mean, it's a small thing, but I never fathomed that will come off of Pancake Box. And so the fact that so many things are happening that I had stopped fathoming, and that people are allowing folks to dream again about a world that is more equitable, is just a beautiful thing. And I'm gonna go back to Mikey Williams, though it seems like a strange segue. I think one of the things that's going to help drive college athletics, and you can see it, is that the players have more power and brand and agency than they used to have in the past. And so while in the past it was, I have this coach, and if I don't toe the party line, I won't play. And he can tell his friends, and if he talks to his friends, I might not be able to transfer. And to be honest, nobody outside of this little city knows who I am anyway. Right. And so if I stop playing on this team, I might not make it to the pros. I might not be able to graduate. I might lose my scholarship. Right. Where now they've got their own social media accounts. They've got their own brands. They have the ability to transfer without sitting out a year. Right. And they can go on TV and get the kind of notoriety that, let's say 10, 15 years ago, they just couldn't do. And so where they had to stand behind a coach who said something crazy that they didn't like, now suddenly they don't have to. And now the coaches have to backpedal a little bit. Because they got to recruit in the same cities over and over again and talk to parents who, some of them, got a Black liberation flag up behind. Right. So I think that players, I think young people, and that's one of the things I love being about a university, because you get to know and appreciate change and youth. But young people today have a much better idea of their power and what they can do. And they're using it, and I'm just excited to watch them do it, and to be a part of it.
So And I agree. And when you start seeing coaches like Mike Gundy, what's the other coach at Iowa? You know,
that was a terrible story.
Yeah. So you're gonna start seeing one, they're gonna start losing their jobs. And initially, I will say this. I will say, I think that us as Black people kind of got like I don't want to say complacent, but it was we took it for granted. Like the Aunt Jemima thing, we just took it. It was like, oh, it's Aunt Jemima, so whatever. The syrup is good, the pancakes are good. We just took all these things for granted, and then you start thinking like this, or the statues. Like, yeah, he was in the Confederacy, but whatever. It's not really affecting me. But when you sit back and think about it, it's like it affects me a lot. That's a statue for some. And I will say this. Yes, I believe that these people shouldn't have a statue, but they are still part of the history. And so they should maybe a museum. They don't need a statue. They don't need to have a school named after them. But we still need to know this part of the history because it's still part of the history. And go ahead, Scott.
No, I just said it's just funny when you think back at all the changes, you realize how much we really do accept and how tolerable we are. Because the statues, like you said, you pass Andrew Jackson, it's like whatever. You could pass Robert E. Lee, whatever. But then you start just really adding it up, and you're like, man, it's a ton of statues out there and ton of like racial undertones that we've just lived with. Like the pancake, I didn't think anything of that, but it is a lot of racial undertone to it. So you're right.
Yeah. To me, that one is even though it's not important. I mean, pancake syrup on pancakes on the scheme of things, right? It's probably the smallest win ever, right?
Right.
But just the idea, I mean, I had to check myself that I never thought that it would be different, right? And so I'm glad now that I think COVID-19 has really done an incredible job of in a tough way pointing out so many of the inequities, in our country. So we watch, it points out the inequities in the healthcare system as we watch African Americans be disproportionately impacted by COVID-19, and it points out the inequities in the economic system where our people are some of the first people being laid off in the economy. And when they're not laid off, they're essential workers, so they can't work from home and they don't get essential worker pay, right?
Right.
And then I'm in education. It's pointing out the equities in education where we got great kids, man. Great kids who are smart, who want to get the work done, who you send them home and they're in a spot at home where they can't really get work done. They might not have internet at home. They might not have a computer. And so now you got these smart kid that doesn't have the resources to do the work. So it's pointing out equities in education. And then George Floyd and the murder of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor point out the inequities in the criminal justice system. And now it's just all sitting here, right? And there's no easy answers or easy solutions, but the things that we've always known, right, are now suddenly on display to say, no, look, none of it is right. There is a structural issue that has set up the systematic racism, and it's been built on purpose. And the only way to dismantle it is on purpose, right? It's not going to accidentally dismantle itself, right? And so we have to continue to apply pressure and do the work to make sure that our young people have the opportunities they need going forward. So it's what you asked me before we came on. You said, how am I doing? And I said, I'm doing all right, considering, right? I mean, all things considered, this might be one of the most important times in history. And we'll look back on this time with the and talk about the amount of change that's happened now. It'll be important. So glad to be here.
Yeah. So one last question, and I don't really want to start no beef with some of the other universities, but
let's beef, brother. Let's beef.
One thing I always wanted to know, do you as presidents, like different universities, especially in the CIAA, because we all know the CIAA is really competitive. Do you guys really talk trash to each other, whether it's at the games or
You have no idea. First of all, presidents are type A personality, right?
Okay.
So highly competitive. So there's not one president, I lie to you not, one president in the CIAA or in the MEAC or in the SWAC that doesn't think of the team like he's the owner or she's the owner of the Lakers. Like, I mean, we want to call it like this, right? I mean, And do we talk trash? Oh my God. So at the last CIAA tournament, it's gotten to be kind of a habit where the presidents will sit. I started sitting on the sidelines across the team. And some of the other younger presidents do that too. And we get to talking smack. So DeJuan Warmack from Claflin, and I'm mad because he won the game when we played there. So I got to give him some. But when we were talking smack on the sidelines, Virginia Union's president, Hakeem Lucas, I mean, some of the things that are said on the sidelines between presidents, I can't say them in front of you. I can't say them in front of you. And I like and some of the presidents who are the ladies are even more competitive, brother. It's real out here in these streets. Don't take anybody's kindness for weakness. Everybody is a killer. They love this sport.
I'll tell you a real quick story. I don't even think I told Scott this. So I was covering the CIAA this year, and we were recording so during the Claflin State game, we were recording, and I said, I'm gonna get to this game, after we get off the air. So we got off the air, and I got there as the game was ending, and you didn't even see me, but I was going to like where the post game was, and the look in your eye, I said, I'll wait to talk to him at another time. I'm not going to talk to him now. The look that you had was a look that I've seen in like fathers when they kid ain't do what they were supposed to do, and they know you're gonna be mad, and you just had that look, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna just wait. I'm gonna just go ahead and do this post game, and but I can see the intensity.
It wasn't that though. Real talk. So one, I was mad because my good friend Warmack from Claflin was going to talk a whole lot of smack, and I wasn't going to be able to say that. So I was upset about that.
That's how we are.
But on the other side, though, so basketball is my favorite sport. I go to as many games as possible, and probably more with the girls, right? So I actually run scout team with the girls. So I play with the girls in practice, right?
Okay.
Oh, wow. But I know all of the guys and all of the girls. Like I know them, Right. And on this team was a 5th-year senior, Walt Williams. Mm-hmm. Walt was, I'm going to take you back. So when I first got announced for the job in December of 15, before I came on campus, I was announced. I came to campus, did an interview, and I went back to Florida because I was still at Cookman.
Right.
Virginia State came to Daytona Beach to play a game the next week.
Wow.
The first students I met was the basketball team in Daytona Beach. Right.
Wow.
Walt was on that team, he was a freshman on that team his first year, right? And so this year they were favored. I wanted to see him. I wanted to see the guys. I wanted to see Coach Blow. I love to see them win, not just because I like winning, and I do, but it's something magical to see your people do well, Mm-hmm. And so it wasn't a disappointed father like, I'm mad y'all to do what y'all supposed to. It was more like, it was like, I wanted them to be able to enjoy it.
Right.
Like the owner of a team. Like the owner of a team.
Like
you
the owner of a team.
Blood and sweat, and you see everything they pour into it. So now
All right, and one more story. I got all these stories. So the first time,
nobody want to hear your stories.
And they're good stories. So the first time I met you was actually the very first event that I covered for Off the Record, and that was at State CIAA for football.
Okay.
And we went, and they put a beating on Fayetteville. That's the Trent Cannon and all of them.
Man.
And that game, the atmosphere, it was cold that day, but the atmosphere around there, you wouldn't have thought it was 40 degrees. It was lively, and it was a packed, like Virginia State side was packed, the fans, the band. It was amazing, and I was just surprised that you were there. Like, so Tiffany, who helps, she was with me, and she's like, "Yeah, that's the plan." I was like, "How do you know all these people?" Oh, I just I see them and I just email them and I just remember their face, and I was like, "Oh, so and that's what she, Tiffany's good. She's more of a people person than I am. Like she's so she, she went. I was like, I don't know, that's the president, because I'm thinking when we were in school, and I was like Scott said, you didn't really go up to the president. You didn't really go talk to him or say, "Can I take a picture?" He just was like, you may just say hi in passing, but that's one of the things that I really do commend about you is that you're so personable. It's like my uncle or my cousin or somebody, and you greeted us. You didn't know me from anything, and we took the picture, and that was it. It was just like a family affair, and that's why I really enjoyed about it.
Man, look, I got number love for Tiffany. So I saw her show when y'all did her, and I know she's doing big things up at Dartmouth, but she was one of the first people who reached out to me, who's talking about me on social media when I got the job. And I followed that stuff. So I reached out to her, that kind of thing. So she's good people, her sister, her mom. But no, I mean, I really do. To me, the people part is the part of the job I like the most. It's the idea that we get a chance to really make a difference in people's lives, man. And I get a chance to meet people. I get a chance to hear people's stories. It's a beautiful thing. It really is. So I mean, I trust me when I tell you it was my pleasure, and that's for anybody. You see me on the street, I'm talking to you. I mean, unless I'm on the phone, then I'm not. But if I'm not on the phone, it's all good. So no, thank you. And I remember that day. It was cold, and Trent County ran up the middle like twice for no good reason. I think he rushed like 180 yards on.
Broke a record. He had like 4 touchdowns or something. It was.
Oh yeah.
It was funny after that game. Ant came back. He was like, "Yo, that guy's going to the pros." I was like, "From Virginia State," and sure enough, he got the trial with the Jets. But he got drafted by the Jets, right? So one thing I commend you on is looking at all your accomplishments. I'm like, man, this guy could be doing anything in the world. Just for not, or you 24 when you got your PhD in engineering?
Yeah.
Crazy accomplishment. So I'm glad that you are the president, and like I said, the university is definitely moving forward, and I'm just excited. It was a video that came out about a month ago, a couple months ago, Ant, that I shared, and I was just looking in amazement, like, that's Virginia State.
It was the engineering with that was crazy with the
shout out to Jesse Vaughn. We have legitimately one of the best videographers in the country who does our videos. He's an Emmy Award winning director. So not only is State a great place, but Jesse knows how to make State look even better. Right? He
made me want to go back. I was like,
that was a great video. So tell everybody where they can follow you at.
You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. It is my name. It's right below here. I think right there is my name. First name and last name. If you look that up, you'll see me Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I actually answer my own DMs on Instagram and Twitter. I don't do the DMs on Facebook. And I'm on LinkedIn. And whatever I am, I'm always singing the praises of the great things that are happening at Virginia State University. Wonderful faculty, staff, students, alumni, supporters, friends, parents, board. We got the best family in the world, and we would like to have you join us.
Absolutely.
I appreciate the fact that this interview is wrapping up, and now I can really focus on that butt kicking I want to give Ant on Sunday.
What's the battle on Sunday?
So we do our music. We just battle with music. I know. Have you seen on Instagram like the verses, something like that? So a couple months ago, we was in a group chat, and I was like, you know what? We should do our own little battle because and it just turned into something. It was just like I think it was about 6 of us at first, and then we was like, let's So we started getting people in that went to school with us. So it's just pretty much just a bunch of alumni on a call. So we're actually gonna go live on Sunday, right? Okay. Because it's Scott, and I don't know why Scott has this beef with me. I treat him like a brother. I don't know why he would have this beef with me. He is so competitive that all he thinks about is trying to destroy me, and it never happens. But that's his goal in life, and I don't understand why. So
what artists are you doing?
So we're doing hip hop and R&B. So how it goes is like, so we go 5 rounds. We just pick whatever song, and we'll battle a song, and we have judges. So it'll be 5 judges. So and then the next 5 rounds, we have categories that we don't know anything about. So the judges, I'm not the judges, but whoever's gonna host it, we have a couple people who they put together a category. We have 45 seconds to find a song, and then we play it. right?
So
And then the next
I'm not going to let him get off that easy. I'm not going to let him get off that easy. All right. So when we're normally in the studio, we play music during our show.
Okay.
So the entire existence of the show, Anthony has dominated the music. Won't let me play the music. Won't let me play the music any week. And he always claims that I know nothing about music.
I've never said that. I've never said that.
Very disrespectful.
I've never
very disrespectful. So, I've kind of let him get that off for years. Okay. I was minding my own business.
Minding your own business.
Minding my own business. This guy calls me and is like, you know what? You've been talking mess about the music that I played for years. You're battling. So I tried to back out of it, right? I said, look. Yeah, so I was like, look, I'm just talking mess. It's nothing personal. I like all the music that you play. You have an extensive knowledge of music, just like you do sports. Leave me alone.
You gave him all of his credit. You gave him all the
credit. He gave him all the credit. He said, no, it's not good enough.
No.
Sunday, I'm challenging you. So now I've gotten in this mode to where I've got to accept the challenge, and my back was against the wall.
Against the wall.
So I've got to stand up. He pushed me.
He
pushed me.
That's right.
So I just want to know
you come out first.
Now that because it takes time to prep for the show. So my energy hasn't been in the music. So I'm just letting him know that all my energy is going into the music. I might take the rest of the week off. That's the focus on what I got to do Sunday to make sure that you don't beat me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want y'all to see this is the kind of brotherhood, these are the kind of family relationships that you build at an HBCU. This is what you build at Virginia State. That's what I'm talking about, man. I'm proud of y'all, brothers. I'm so proud of y'all. I don't know what to do.
You're more than welcome to join us if you want to.
Look, send me the link. Real talk. Real talk. I gotta talk to my boss to see if I can get time off on Sunday. But if I can,
absolutely,
if my wife I can come. The first lady runs it on the weekend.
We both understand. We both understand. So yeah. So absolutely. So yeah. So Scott, you better go ahead. You got to take work off. Go ahead, take work. I work from home, so whatever. I got my laptop over here. So just know next Wednesday, somebody's gonna come in here looking sad. It ain't gonna be me.
My wife got the computer upstairs, and we're about to get it. That's how she gets me ready for the battle. I go back and forth with her, and she critiques me. So hey, it's about to be on.
You get all the help. Call your son. He can help you too.
I'm not even worried about fireworks this year. 4th of July doesn't even matter. I'm in the dungeon, and I'm going in the back. No 4th of July in the Smith household.
Cancel.
It's canceled. I'm using my vacation time and canceling the 4th of July. It's on.
Hey, we gotta get out of here. I can't believe this, man.
It's on.
All right, but definitely again, we appreciate you for joining us. This has been great. So yeah, I mean, any final thoughts?
No, but I tell you this much though, and I know y'all probably don't repeat guests, but after the season starts back up, if it starts moving real good, bring me back. I haven't had a chance to really, because we don't get a chance to get out as much, so I don't have my informal basketball conversations. So I'm gonna need y'all to help me out. Get me back in the groove. So thank you. But it was wonderful. Thanks for letting me hang out with you.
We appreciate it.
We appreciate you coming on, and definitely come back whenever you want.
Don't say that. You won't have a guest for the rest of the year. You'll be like, and here again, the president, 14, he's back again. This dude won't leave us alone.
Hey, that'll be great.
How about we change the name to Off the Record featuring? No.
Hey, listen, we'll see what we could do. We'll see what we can do. Appreciate it. Again, thank you again. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Again, thank you, President Abdullah. That was amazing.
Just so down to earth, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
So down to earth. I mean, you look at all his accomplishments and you'd be like, man, this guy's gonna come on and I've got to be on current events and I got to know what's going on.
It was great. It was great. So all right, man. I guess you got anything left other than I'm gonna beat you down.
No, I gotta get in the bag. I got a lot of work to do. I gotta make sure I bring it. So
Right.
I don't do nothing half. I know you're a worthy competitor, but I'm going to make sure.
And at the end of the day,
I bring it.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, we make sure that's our getaway, especially with everything that's going on. That's our getaway to talk trash and listen to music. And so, all right. So this is Off the Record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
Boy, Scotty B.
I don't go nowhere.